Okay, time for another quick update here. It's been a while, so we'll get started. These are my deck peppers. And my Yuba tuba, I harvested all of the pods that initially came out on it, and they were really good. I may use them and some of the Aji Lemon to make some pepper jelly. But anyway, it's put out quite a few new pods, so as you can see, I'm going to have a number of new ones here pretty soon. Still putting out plenty of blooms and buds, and it looks like it's going to produce for quite a while yet. Doing real good. And my Manzano, this is the Manzano. It's got one pod on it. That's all it's ever had. It keeps putting out blooms, but they're not setting. And finally, this single pod, it's a pretty big pod here, it's finally turning. As you can see, it's got a lot of orange on it now. It's hard to see with the sun now, but there's a lot of orange in it, and I pretty sure it's supposed to turn red when it's fully ripe, so it's got a little ways to go yet. But you can see it's putting out, still putting out blooms, so I hope once I pick that pod there, I'll get some new ones there. It's a nice big pod, and they're real, it's heavy. It almost looks like a bell. It's heavy like a bell, and it's doing the same color variations, you know, where it goes from red to, or orange to red, so. But I know it's not a bell. And then here's my other Manzano, which is doing real well. It put out several pods early on, and like it's a little different than this one because it has put out pods kind of continuous. Not a lot of them, but as you can see, I got one way out here on the end of this branch. There's another one, there's another one, but these are not as big as the one on the other plant, and none of them are really showing any signs of going ripe yet. But like I said, it's still putting out plenty of blooms, so we'll see what happens. I'm anxious to see what those taste like. I'll probably make some of those with my Aji Lemon into some jelly here pretty soon too. And my Aji Lemon, this is the one that had the branch broke off when the pot up above fell down on it and broke half of it off, but the other half here is still doing quite well. Plenty of pods on it, and I have picked several ripe ones. They're yellow when ripe, so this is like this one here, that's nice and ripe. I made those into a couple batches of jelly along with my second one here. This is a nice plant. Doesn't have any broken branches, obviously, but you can see several ripe peppers on this one, and still a lot of green ones, so I can harvest some of these, but I don't really need them right now. I just made a batch of jelly. So, and this is my third Aji Lemon, which is probably the most prolific, but I think I've only had 1 or 2 ripe pods on here so far. And but oh, there's a couple ripe ones. You can see there's a nice long one. I haven't seen one like that before. That's kind of odd, but that thing has got a ton of nice pods on it, and a couple weeks from now I'll probably have tons of those coming off. My Thai Hot, these turned out, I finally think I figured out what they actually were. They are Thai Hot, but they're Thai Hot ornamental. So whoever I got the seeds from, I forget, just assumed it was a basic Thai Hot, the one that they normally grow for eating. But this is the ornamental, and it is kind of a pretty plant, but just green and red is all you get on it. You don't get a whole lot of color variation like some of the ornamentals. So, but you can see it puts out a ton of peppers, and if you look close, you can just see tons and tons of buds. So I probably won't be eating any of those, and I don't know if I'll grow it again, but It's kind of a pretty little plant. My cayenne, that's growing nice and tall now, and it's got several nice peppers on it, and I've harvested several of those already. But these are nice long ones. I think this might be the slim variety. As you can see, this, oops, that probably won't work good on video, but that's a nice long, probably 6-7 inch pod there, nice and red, and another nice big long one here. So, and they're all nice and long, and again, this one's putting out a lot of blooms and setting fruit, and I'm gonna have a lot of peppers off of that later on. I'll probably grind most of those up for powder or flakes. And this here is that original black pearl that I started on Christmas Day. Doing real well. Harvested a lot of seeds off it so far, but it just keeps putting them out. A nice pretty black and red pods, and then you got the black, and the newer growth comes out green, and then it eventually turns black. But you can see still putting out a lot of blooms, so doing real well. And you can see here's a couple of ripe ones. They start shriveling up after they go red, and then eventually they shrivel up when they're fully ripe. I should probably pick those so it starts putting out more. My Carolina Reaper, I'm kind of coming to the realization that this is slightly off. It's not a true pure Carolina Reaper. If it was, you'd have more pods. Here's one that's kind of ripe already, but I'm not getting the tails. You kind of got a tail on that one, but not really. Here's one with a tail. Now you should be getting tails like that, but with more of a rounded pod like this, but there's no tail on this one. But this one has a tail, but it's more elongated, so they're slightly off. It looks like some of these newer ones are getting a little closer to what they should look like, but I don't know. I got to find another seed source if I want to grow these again, because I do want to grow the pure form of them. I'm sure they're still plenty hot, but I'm not going to try them. And my Thai Dragon, slow grower, but it's finally putting out some nice pods. It looks a lot more like that Thai Hot I grew last year, where you get the bunches of long 2-3 inch pods, and they grow upright like that. So I think this one's growing true. I've heard these are pretty good to eat, so hopefully it puts out enough where it makes it worthwhile for me to harvest them and crush them up into flakes or something. So next we'll go see the ornamental peppers. And here's the ornamentals. You can see my Russian sage is finally blooming in the background there. Here's the black pearl. I started this one with all the rest in February, and it's doing really well. It's probably a better looking plant than my other one, actually. Really pretty. Nice. All the pods are really nice and big and perfectly shaped. I actually like this plant a little better. I think I'll save seed from this one to grow in the future, but it's really a nice looking plant. And then my Twilight, and these are always just such beautiful peppers. You almost, it's almost hard to believe that they're a live plant. They almost look fake with all this color. You can just see there's blue, there's yellow, or not blue, but purple, yellow, orange, red, green. Just about everything in there, and they're vivid color. They're not. Some of them are, a little bit, in between stages, but generally you just get, one color. Unlike some of them where the pods just are mottled and not looking so good. I'll show you that on the 5-color marble over here, but these are just so pretty. And this plant's doing quite well. Probably should take that support out. But nice plant. I love them. My 5-color marble. I'm kind of disappointed. A very small plant, and I'm not getting the color variations. There was a lot more blue and yellow, or purple and yellow. Got some like that, and now they're all going orange to red, and it's supposed to. I've seen pictures where they look a little bit more colorful, like the twilight, but this one sure isn't doing it. And you can see most of these red peppers are starting to shrivel, so I probably need to cut them so it'll set more. But it's a small plant. I mean, you know, it's not much bigger than my outstretched hand, so I don't know if I'll be growing these anymore. The twilight's just so much prettier. And my fish pepper, really kind of a sharp looking plant with the foliage, and the pods are even variegated. Look at this, really nice variegation there, and you can see the leaves. It almost looks like the leaves are diseased or something, but that's totally normal. And here's a ripe one, and there's even some variegation there, as you can see. I've harvested several of these. I got 3 or 4 that I need to harvest now, but I've harvested several of these and made them into a batch of jelly, along with the Aji Lemon. The red from these and the yellow from the Aji Lemon looks really cool in the jelly. So, and they are pretty good tasting. They're not real hot. I thought they'd be hotter than they are, but they're well within my heat range. And next we'll go look at the Hungarian wax. Okay, and the Hungarian wax. The last time I looked a couple weeks ago, they weren't doing real well. They looked okay, but they just weren't real big, and didn't seem to be growing real well. But in the last week or two, they seem to have really perked up. Maybe it was the hotter weather we've been having. But I've harvested a lot of these peppers already, and I could probably harvest several of these. Nice big one here. I don't know if you can see it. Nice big one. I eat them on my sandwiches fresh, but I was hoping to get a lot more this year, but I guess I'll have to grow more of them next year if I really want to can a lot of them like I was hoping. In previous years, it seems like they produced better than these have been producing, so I don't know, I may even have to grow my own from seed to get what I want. These were all plants I bought at nurseries, so. And that's it. We'll go check out the tomatoes next.